coming out here after 30 years, yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.
So, man, Powhatan started out kind of rough because, like I say, we was on the bus for, man, like 12 hours, man. 12 hours when you on that bus. That's one of the worst things about getting transferred. I hate it. I just hated it. Never had a good experience with it because you shackled up and you handcuffed up with this black box on, and man, you can't move your wrists, you can't move your feet. If you get an itch, you just messed up. You got to use the bathroom, you messed up, you got to hold it, you know, so it's just a rough experience, man. You packed in on this bus and you like that. The seats is hard, it's uncomfortable, and it's just, yeah, I never had a good experience with it at all. So normally when you go on these transfers like that, Powhatan is the exchange place, so they go to Powhatan anyway, and a lot of buses be in there, and they be exchanging. People get switch buses that's going to different institutions, but that's actually the change spot, Powhatan. But we actually had to sit out there, even if we was going to Powhatan, we had to sit out there, wait till they do all these exchanges and everything before we actually even get on another bus that's just going to drive us around to the front entry. And then we get around there, we gonna have to sit down and wait for hours or two till they get their stuff together, you know, get us off of the bus, put us in a holding cell. We go in the holding cell. When we get in the holding cell, then we got to be strip searched. We got to be assigned to a building. All of this, man. So, you know, like I said, this was about 12, 13 hour ride. You can't wait to get in there. Try to use the bathroom. You get in there, use the bathroom. Then you still trying to get to where you got to get because you're still uncomfortable. Your wrist hurt. My wrist always swells up when I put them handcuffs on for that long. It's some type of reaction to my skin. I swell up. And so I'm already irritated, frustrated. We ain't had nothing to eat. You know, a bologna sandwich and an orange when we first left. That's it. So trying to get in here, get something to eat, get where I'm going, get comfortable, find out who my celly is, find out where I'm at, and get, you know what I'm saying, get you know, kind of settled in. So they just having us sitting in the holding tank, man. They exchanging shifts, and they just walking right by us and talking like we just don't even exist. You know, they laughing and joking, and the ones coming on work, getting all work, talking about, you know, street stuff and all this and all that, while we sitting here like, you know, monkeys in a zoo, man. It's just, I'm telling you, it's a horrible experience, man. So, you know, I can remember that time, man, because I got irritated, I don't know what, man, because I was asking them, kept asking everybody just walking by, man, we gonna get something to eat or what, man, and y'all gonna get us up out of here. So, you know, and little to say, you know, needless to say, they don't like that at all. They don't like nobody to speak out. They don't like nobody to stand up for themselves. They don't like that at all because they just feel like they in such a power position and authority that, like, who are you to question them? So I can remember, man, I would ask a couple of people, man, they were like, I don't know, man, hold on, this, that, and the third. I'm inventorying these faces of the COs, the ones that, you know, got something smart to say or whatever, because I know when I see them on the compound, I ain't gonna never like them. You know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna be getting them the mean mug, because I ain't gonna like you. If you come up, the first impression is gonna be my impression of you all the time. So I know that's how you carried it, or whether you was putting on or showing off or whatever. But I just was trying to inventory their faces. So I won't get no results and whatnot. And then here come, I see a dude coming in there with a big hat on. You know, a big hat is either lieutenant, captain, major, whatever. So I see, I see this tall, brown skinned dude coming in there pimping like he in a exploitation movie, you know, like, you know, from back in the day, you know, the Mac or something. He got this big hat on, but it's cocked to the side, and he just pimping and walking. I'm like, man, who is this clown right here? This is what I'm saying in my mind. So as he get closer, you can see their bars on their lapel, which tells you whether they're lieutenant, sergeant, captain, or whatever. So he a captain. I look at his name tag, and I see Johnson. So I'm like, yo, you a captain, man? You a Captain Johnson? So he talking to somebody, so I'm trying to get his attention. So then he just turned around and give me like one of them looks like, can't you see me talk? You know, so I'm like, he said, hold on, man. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, yeah, all right. So he looked back at me again, finished talking, then he come over, he said, what's up? So I said, man, we been in here, man. We been on the bus, man, 12, 13 hours, man. We been in here, you know, sitting out here in front of the joint for about an hour. We been sitting in here, man. We trying to get to where we going, and we trying to get something to eat, man. Is we gonna get something to eat? At least get something to eat, man. You know, so he was like, that what you called me for? I was like, yeah. He said, man, they gonna get to you when they get to you, man. I said, oh, man, yeah, okay. I said, I shouldn't have even said nothing to you. I see what type of time you on. Go ahead on, man. So he said, he started walking up, and then he turned around. He said, what you say? I said, go ahead on, man. You ain't no help. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no help. Go ahead on, man, you know. So he said, okay. I got me one, huh? I see you when you get back here. I said, okay, I'm coming. I ain't got nowhere else to go. I'm coming back there. He said, oh, yeah, I know you is. I see you when you get back there. So I'm like, oh, man, this going to start off on a bad foot already because this is a captain. So he got some pull, ain't no question, because he a captain. But at the same time, I'm always going to stand up for me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever come with it, that's what come with it, man. But they was dragging us, and they know they was dragging us. So, you know, I go ahead on with the little process, man. They ended up coming back there, strip searching all of us, giving us our property, not our property, but giving us our clothes and stuff back, get dressed, telling us we going into the building, we going into another salad port in there, and they're going to bring us something to eat. So we get up in there. They put us in another holding cell. They started bringing us trays. We want them some trash. They could have kept that. You know what I'm saying? So while we in there, they bringing us exchange of clothes now because we got to transfer in this little flimsy jumpsuit. So they bringing us clothes now, you know, blues, shirts, or whatever, and giving us sale assignments of where we going, right? Now, back up a few minutes, because when we get there, or when we leaving Nottoway and we go to get on the bus, man, lo and behold, I told y'all the dude that had on Nottoway that went and told the people that checked in and told the people that he would I was gonna kill him and Rap Brown was gonna kill him if he ain't had his money, and they locked me up. I ain't see the cat no more. He stayed in jail. He ain't come out. So when we go to get transferred, had this clown come out here in shackles in handcuffs too. He getting transferred too. And as soon as I seen him and he seen me, boy, his eyes got big as a saucer. But you know, we shackled and handcuffed up and everything, but we getting on the same bus. And I just looked at him and he said, oh, yeah, man, yeah, I got to tell you about that situation. I said, oh, what a tangle where we weave. I said, boy, you better hope you ain't going to where I'm going. He said, no, man, look, man. I said, man, yeah, okay. Now, I won't go, you know, do nothing critical to him, but as God is my witness, I was going to slap fire from him, man. As soon as I got a chance to, if they would have put him right where I was at, I was going to slap his face off, you know, for crossing me up for nothing. I try to help you, and you cross me, I was going to slap his face off and show his grits, his groceries, you know. But we get on the bus and everything, and like I say, he keep trying to talk to me, and sure enough, he going to Powhatan. So he was scared to death. So we get on Powhatan, we get on that joint, and I say by the time we get to the other holding cell, he keep on trying to talk to me. I told him I want to talk to him, man, let's leave him alone. So when we get in the holding cell, when we get our food and stuff, and they done took the handcuffs off now, and they gonna, you know, give us our cell assignment, but we got to eat, so they took the handcuffs off. Man, that man was scared to death. That man went up, stood by the bars and everything, and told the people that he wanted to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? He checking in. So I ain't gonna do nothing to him right there anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting on the compound. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going out like that. So he's scared to death. So he thinking I'm gonna do something to him so bad. He trying to go to jail. He trying to check in. Now I'm scared because I'm thinking he gonna tell him he trying to check in because of me. Then I'm in a whole nother other situation. But I guess he learned his lesson for the first time. He see how that stuff can come back on him, because like I say, you do dirt, that dirt gonna find you. You know, and then if it find you, you might mess around with the wrong person, you end up in the dirt. That's how it go. You know, dirt for dirt for dirt, you know what I'm saying? So he check in though, but he don't say my name or nothing. He said somebody on the compound that he don't want to be on there with, whatever. They go ahead on, cuff him up, take him out, and you know, lock him up. I ain't even never see him the whole time I was on the compound, which was good, because like I said, I was going to slap fire from him, for real. But that was a good thing for me. So while we in there eating and everything, all of a sudden, here come old Captain. He come in there. He could get the door open and everything. Walk all up in there with another officer like he Billy Bad, man. You know, he come walk over to me. He said, yeah, you. Yeah, I told you I was going to see you when you got back here. Then, so I'm sitting there eating and everything. I said, yeah, you did? Yeah, I said, what's up? He said, yeah, come in, let me holler at you. So he get me, take me up, put handcuffs on me, take me out in the hallway, him and a sergeant. I guess this what he call his shake-up. He going to run the shake-up on me. He said, what's your name? You know what I'm saying? I told him my name. He said, yeah, that's who I thought you was. He said, I looked in your file already. I know who you is. I know how much time you got. I know everything about you, everything you did since you've been in the system. He said, but let me tell you something. I run this camp right here. This is my camp. Yeah. He said, so you come on here and you act like you bad? He said, I'm going to have my eye on you the whole time, waiting for you every time. You slip up, I got you. I got you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking at him right. I'm like, okay. Okay. He said, oh, I just want you to know. He said, you see, remember this name right here. This is my camp. I run this. You know, I said, all right, boss. He said, don't patronize. I said, all right, boss, you run it. You the boss. He said, all right, just want you to know that. Ask about me when you get back there. Everybody back there gonna tell you about me. I said, yeah, all right, boss. He said, take him on back. Send me on back up in there, right? I'm like, man, this dude is a cold clown, right? You know what I'm saying? But I found out about him later on, though. Like I say, he won't lie. He run that compound, you know. But anyway, he sent me on back in there, and we get to moving around, you know what I'm saying, trying to get our stuff together, man. All our stuff come in a laundry bag, big old net bag. You know, we check and see and make sure you got 2 pair of pants, 2 socks, drawers, underwear, whatever. You know, then they can start coming, moving us out, taking each individual to whatever cell block they was going to. So they come get me. I think I went to C block, right? So they come get me, man. They tell me they taking me out, man. So as I'm going out the jump, and I got my bag thrown on my shoulder, man, and I'm walking, got all these big old country blues on, and I'm walking going to my block. As we get to my block, they bust the door open, and when they bust the door open, you got to go in. When you go in, you in the salad port. Then you got to go through another set of bars, and then you in the actual block. So when they bust the door for me to go in the salad port, it's a dude coming out the salad port, an inmate, and man, he seen me and just walked up to me and said, "What's up, homie?" and hugged me, and the guy like threw me back because I'm on a new camp, and his face looked familiar, but it threw me off. So I'm looking at him, and I don't let nobody get that close to me. I was, you know, getting ready to, you know what I'm saying, push him up off me. But he said, man, I see you when I get back. I'm getting ready to go to work. And he rolled out. But the thing that stuck out to me about him was he had a very, very familiar face. I knew him. But when you've been locked up now for the time I did, over a decade, you know, you saying, do I know this dude from another prison, or do I know this dude from the street, or whatever? Your mind started playing tricks on you. And the thing that threw me off, he had one eye. He had one eye. So I'm like, I would have remembered that, but his faces look so familiar. So he went on out. I go in, right, and that was still on my mind. That was like, that was strange, man. I know this cat. So when I get back there, I walk in the block, like I told you, Powhatan big, man. It's a big old block, man. It's a long block. It's almost just like the wall is built. If y'all went and watched the documentary on the wall, it's like the wall is built, but the only difference is it got 2 sides, and instead of 4 tiers, it got 3 tiers, you know. So it's a long tier. You got tiers on this side, and these are bars. This the door to close your door, and you can actually look straight across from your cell inside the other cell. The cell is directly in front of you. You can look right in their cell. They can look right in your cell, man. And the cells is extra small. Yeah, the cells is extra small, man. It's little, and then there's a double cell, bunk beds, man. If you get off the bunk bed, man, you can touch the bunk bed right here and touch the wall right here. We hardly got no space in here. It ain't nothing but that, a little locker in there, and the toilet. Man, big old window that you could look outside to see the yard, or look all the way across. You can see receiving. Dudes that's in receiving. Powhatan had a receiving. Powhatan actually had a jail, you know what I'm saying, like a local jail for people that was getting locked up on the street and get in jail, they go down there, but we never see them, but it was down in the basement. So it was a dirty, dingy, old compound, man. I mean, dirty, man. Filthy, cold in there in the wintertime. Hot as I don't know what in the summertime, man. They was infested with ants, man. Ants would, man, dudes would take Vaseline and peanut butter and put it all around their windowsill to try to keep the ants out, man. It was a horrible, as far as conditions on there, it was horrible, man. And like I say, they still, when I first got there, they still had to crank doors. They had to crank the door open, all the doors open at the same time, and they crank it back and close all the doors at the same time. Officers would come by, just start slamming your door. You know what I'm saying? First they crank them. When they crank them, later on, when they ended up putting the digital thing in, the officers had to come by and slam your door. That's when I get down the line, I tell you about that, because that created problems too. But at first they just had to crank them. You had to be up in them doors. If you end up getting stuck outside the door when they all lock up, then they probably won't give you a charge. Sometimes they might go ahead and lock you up, man, and say delaying and hindering, you know what I'm saying, in officers' duties or whatever. But I go in the cell with a white dude, man. They put me in the cell with a white dude, man. He was an alright dude, man. He was a little out there, but he was alright. But the thing about it was, he said he went home in like 29 days. You know what I'm saying? He was getting out in like 29 days. So he won't caring about nothing. All he was trying to do was make it to that date 29 days later, which I understood. But he wasn't no bad dude. He was okay or whatever. Trying to tell me who was on here, whatnot, this, that, and the third. So I tried to get my stuff settled all in, put my stuff on my bed, but then I want to walk out in the block because I want to check out the atmosphere. I want to check out the faces, make sure if I see anybody I know, make sure I ain't got no enemies on here. Ain't nobody trying to get at me, you know what I'm saying? So I got to be ready and be prepared. You got to know, you know what I'm saying, your surroundings and know what's going on. So, man, lo and behold, I see my man Troop, man. Boom, Troop had left, I told y'all, and he ended up on here. Now, this was crazy because like I told y'all, man, me and Troop had got into the situation on Greensville, man, where Troop got this real bad charge and I got caught up with him. I told y'all go back and watch. He's the first story I did on my YouTube page when I started my own page. And I just talked to him again today, coincidentally, and we trying to get something set up where I'm going to do an interview with Troop. Y'all are going to be thoroughly entertained when y'all see this cat right here, because he been through it, man. He been through it, and he done it all. And like I say, I'm telling y'all right now, y'all gonna really get with his story, man. And he is a talker, so he will tell you all of it, and from beginning to end. But you know, like I say, he stayed in controversy, man. But from the time we was on Greensville till the time, you know, he ended up getting out, man, and we just kept hitting and missing after that. After they separated us on Greensville, every time I got somewhere he was gone within a couple of days. And that's what happened on there. Within 4 or 5 days, he was working in the kitchen, and he ended up getting a rumbling in the kitchen with somebody this time. And next thing you know, I seen him coming back, packing up his stuff. He was gone. So I ain't even never run into him no more. You know, he ended up getting out, whatever, but I ain't run into him no more. But that was last time I seen him. But when I did see him, and we get to chopping it up for a minute, and I asked him, I said, look, man, I just coming from the way, you know, I was there, I just came from there. I said, but when I was coming in, man, I seen this dark-skinned dude going out, man. He got one eye, man, and he hugged me, act like he know me. I said, well, he a homie or something? He was like, nah, I don't think so. I said, well, what his name is? And he said his name is Wheat. And when he said his name was Wheat, and it popped back in my head, he was somebody that I knew from the street. But when I knew him from the street, he had his eye. I knew him from the street from down here in Virginia, from when I was down here in the summer times and everything. I knew him. I more so knew his sister than him. He was a couple of years older than me, but I knew him, knew about him, had, you know, even dealt with him a couple of times on the street, you know, had conversations with him or whatnot. But I definitely knew who he was, man. So now that, you know, eased my mind a little bit that I actually could put a name with the face, you know, but I still was wondering what had happened to his eye, you know. So anyway, Troop went on to work or whatever. I started you know, looking around, I seen a couple of dudes I knew, a couple of dudes, you know, that I had, you know, did time with or whatever, got to talking to them, you know what I'm saying, getting a little lay of the land, what was going on here. But I could see the way things were moving on here already, that this was going to be an experience right here, because like I say, you got both sides out on this one block, man, and I don't want to say exactly how many people it was, but I know it was in the hundreds, you know. So you got hundreds of people moving around at one time in this one congested block. Did anything can happen, and they ain't had cameras at this time. They had blind spots. They had the open showers where you ain't had no single showers. You had 3 floors of showers. You got one on the bottom, one on the second floor, one on the third floor, and these showers got like 8 stalls in them. But they all right beside each other, so you got to take showers together. You ain't had no privacy. You know what I'm saying? You had to go up and down these stairways. Ain't no cameras. Dudes was getting laid out in them stairways, chopped down, putting that Bethlehem all up in them decent and leaving them right there and let the people figure out, you know, who did it. So it was going down on Powhatan. It was going down on there. It was a vicious jump. I think Powhatan was the second oldest prison in Virginia besides the Wall. So you could tell the way it was built. It was old, like I say, dirty, run down, rusty. And when it's cold, man, you can literally be standing out in the block with your coat, sweatpants, long johns, everything on, button up, and you inside, you in a block, and you talking, and you can see the smoke, you know what I'm saying, coming out of people's mouth, you know, as if they were smoking a cigarette or something. That's just how cold it was inside the block. You know what I'm saying? At the back of the block, they had these great big windows, and half of the windows was bust out. So it was something else in there, man. I can remember, like I say, trying to put my eye on everybody. I saw a couple of people that I actually seen on other institutions, but I didn't actually know their name. This institution also, too, being that they had a medical unit on this institution called PMU. You know what I'm saying? I think it was Powhatan Medical Unit, where it was actually a hospital on this institution, which also created a lot of sick people on this institution. No matter what it was, from AIDS to cancer to whatever, they might be on this institution because they had the medical facility to deal with them. Whereas today, wouldn't have to fly them out, take them to MCV or take them on the outside hospital. They actually had doctors and medical people on this. They had a whole nother separate building that it was adjacent to this building, but it was an actual hospital, PMU. So they had a lot of sick people on here, man. And the thing about that was, they was right amongst you. You don't know who it was. They could be in the cell with you. You know what I'm saying? Because that was their personal information and it wasn't privy to everybody. So you had to be real cautious on this compound. Like I say, we sharing showers. You in the cell. So you had to be up on your hygiene on here, man. You had to really be up on your hygiene and paying attention to what was going on. Some of it you could see, some of it you couldn't see. But it was a dangerous situation. Yeah, it was a dangerous situation, man, because we shared the same water fountain. We had a water fountain in there. You might go to the water fountain today and go to look at it or to either get water. We said the same hot water tank. It might be bloody Band-Aids on the water fountain, man. We share the same ice machine. You might open the ice machine to try to get a scoop of ice. It might be blood in the ice machine. It just, man, this thing was, it was dangerous, man. You had to be on top of your hygiene on there at all times because you didn't know what you was dealing with. You didn't know what you was putting your hands into. You didn't know. You just had to take care of yourself the best of your ability on this compound. I learned that off the rip. And my homeboy had told me too. He said, man, you know, it's a lot of sick people on here, so you know, make sure you're on your hygiene on here. So, you know, like I say, which was hard to do. I mean, it wasn't hard to do personally, but it was something that you had to always be on. But you in the cell with another person. That's why when you're in the cell with another person too, you got to make sure that person is is cleanly as well, like cleaning up the cell, wiping down behind itself. Because like I say, we in an open doors. These is bars, man. Dudes can do the same thing they was doing in the wall. They could come by your cell, man, and throw stuff in there. They can come by your cell and light it on fire. It won't nothing you can do. And let me tell you, Powhatan used to be called a slaughterhouse. They called it that because at one time they had the cattle there too. So you could smell it outside the window. All them cows. They had a whole grazing field over there across that you could look across there and see. So you could smell all the cow manure, everything, man. It's just, I'm telling you, man, this was just wild. And then you had dudes that was on Powhatan that had been on there for decades. They had one dude, man, that I actually know he got out either a little bit after me or a little bit before me, but he did his whole time on there. He did like 30-something years right there. It's very rare that you end up staying on one compound the whole time, but you got some people who do. I wasn't that fortunate. Like I told you, they was moving me around like I was cattle for real. Like I told y'all, Greensville, that 6-year stay right there was the longest I stayed on any institution. Besides the time I came home now recently, I guess, right before I made parole, I think I stayed on Nottoway. Let me see, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, well, Nottoway probably beat it. I stayed on Nottoway, I think, from 14 till 2020 when I made parole. That's 7 years. But those two right there, everything else within 33 years was in 3 to 4 years on any institution. I don't know what it was, but they just kept moving me, or be it either I got into some type of situation or whatever, and then they just got rid of me. But those are the two longest stints by far that I stayed on any institution at one time. So, like I said, being on here though, I just kept my eyes open, man, and I started looking around and just seeing how people was doing. They was getting it in on here. Like I say, the police ain't on the floor. The police would leave and then they would come back and make rounds. So the police ain't on the floor, and by the police not being on the floor, and you got hundreds of dudes out here at one time, it won't nothing for the police to leave and come back and somebody laid in the floor bloody and messed up, or laid up there in the shower bloody and messed up, and don't nobody know who did it, and ain't nobody gonna say who did it. You know what I'm saying? If the dude that's bloody and messed up don't say who did it, then we probably get locked down for a minute and they just go around trying to check, see if anybody got any scars on them, anybody knuckles bruised up, whatever. But for the most part, that was it. So that let you be known right there when you on here. I mean, you got to fend for yourself. You got to be in warrior mode. You got to be ready to go. They had dudes on here. This was an old throwback camp, like I say, because you had a lot of dudes on here that did a lot of time. So you got dudes on here, man, that's already into their own thing, man. They is extorting dudes, raping dudes, taking dudes commissary, taxing dudes. It's just everything going on here, man. They running protection schemes. Dudes that was weak can pay somebody, and that dude gonna go to war for you, make sure don't nobody do nothing to you. It was going on here, man. And you had to learn all of this stuff. Boom, 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 and who was who and what was going on. Man, listen, they even had a dude on here, man. They had this crazy dude on here, man. And to me, I ended up getting it on, but, to a certain extent, but I always looked at him when the first time I ever seen him, man. I'm telling you, man, I wish I had a picture of this dude. Man, this dude looked just like Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, just like him. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it was he was small, but he was cut up because he worked out and everything, which he had to for what he was into. He was cut up and everything, but he was a little dude. He was probably about 5'6.5", little, stocky, but he facial features, the long jaw, just like Sammy Davis Jr., the head, everything. But the thing about it was, man, they call this dude Suicide. That was his name. Only name I ever knew him by, Suicide. And the reason that I heard what they call him Suicide for was even crazier. They said they called the man Suicide because he was supposed to be sick you know, like he got, you know, AIDS or either HIV or something like that. But he would take and be trying to rape the white boys. Yeah, man, they say suicide was raping the little young white boys that come in there, man. Now, he won't just exclusive to white boys. He'll try the little young black dudes too, but they say his, you know, preference was the little young white dudes that was new in the system. They was green, they was scared, and man, they say he would go get in the shower with them. When he seen them young dudes go get in the shower, because I told you we had an open shower, and they say suicide would go get in the shower with the dudes and stand right beside him, man, and just watch him, just stare at him, you know, and be playing with himself. And then he got the Bethlehem in the other hand. And the dudes be so terrified, if he see the fear in them, then he would start leaning on them, start pressing them and stuff. I was like, what? They said, yeah. They said, man, that's what they used to tell them. Used to tell the little young dudes, don't fall for it, it's suicide. It was like, that's how he got his name. I said, man, come on, man. But that's what the rumor was, and that's what everybody said about him, man. But I just remember after I heard that story, every time I seen him, that just popped in my mind. And then I inventoried it in my mind. I used to see him too, going to them showers, just like he watched. He stand out in front of the cell, be smoking cigarettes. He see the little young white dudes come in there, they get to go in the shower. Next thing you know, he put his little cigarette out, he go on in the room, come back out with his towel and shower stuff. He go into the shower. I said, oh man, yeah. Yeah, so that's why you had the protection game going on there. The young dudes would come on there, then you had some dudes that was like, you know, they about that business. They like, boom, they trying to get some money. So they were like, look, if you got somebody trying to do something to you, somebody trying to extort you, whatever, yeah, pay me such and such and such, I'm going to keep all the rest of that foolishness away from you. So they had all of that going on Powhatan, man. So, like I say, you got to learn the lay of the land when you get there, who's who, what's going on, this, that, and third. But you had some real live apex predators on this joint right here, man, for real. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I'm looking and I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting it all in order in my mind, who's who and what they about and what they doing, so I know who to talk to, who not to talk to, who I don't even want to talk to, period. You understand me? So that's how I be when I get on the institution anyway. I don't go on there talking to people that I don't know. I got to know you. I got to already have had some type of dealings with you, been somewhere else with you or whatever. Other than that, I ain't had no whole lot of breath for you. So when I first got there too, like I say, I had another homeboy that was on there. He was already on Greensville with me. I already knew him and everything. They call him Richard Rich. Shout out Richard Rich, man. Richard Rich crazy is all outdoors, man. He do his the hard way. You know, I mean the hard way. He ain't playing no games. If he get to beefing with you, you know, he might try to press you. He might try to extort you. You know what I'm saying? For some money or something like that. But if he get to beefing with you and he don't like what's going on, he gonna get that Bethlehem and he gonna put it in you, and he ain't gonna be playing with you neither. He gonna be trying to take you away from here. And that's exactly what happened probably within the first couple of weeks I was there. Man, he had something going on with his celly. So next thing you know, man, they was hollering lockdown. And it came around there, man. This Richard Rich then hit his celly up about 8 or 9 times, man. They had to take that man out there on the helicopter. And that was the last time I seen Richard Rich till years later when I got up in the mountains myself, up Wallace Ridge. I didn't even actually see him then, but he was up there. He was on the other side. To the best of my knowledge, he'd been up in the mountains ever since that incident. So you talking about 99, you know, when this jumped off, 99, 2000. So he been up there for the best, you know, I got up there in, 2009. Yeah, I think I got up there in 2009. He had already been up there the whole time since then, and to the best of my knowledge, that's where he's still at. But yeah, so that had happened. That was like one of the first big incidents when I was on there. My celly on Powhatan, they come around every morning. All the officers before breakfast and anything jump off, they coming around there every morning. They gonna come up in the block, probably, man, 30, 40 deep. And what they do is they do bar and window check, being that they got bars and they got windows. So they coming around, they gonna check the bars, make sure ain't nobody trying to saw their way out. They gonna check the windows. So every morning you gotta get up, come outside your cell, stand there, wait for them to go inside your cell, check your cell, you know, hit the bars, you know, make sure everything ain't nothing broken. Nothing like they do that every morning. That was one of the most annoying things about Powhatan. I can remember it was getting closer and closer to the time for him to get ready to leave. And we had this lieutenant on here, man. He was the worst lieutenant on the compound. He the worst of the worst, man. He one of them type of officers, man, that when you locked up, you don't never want to run across, man. I think his name was Mortensen. Man, he was a Morton or Mortensen. I think it was Morton. Man, he was a real live donkey, man. A real live donkey. He was one of them type of officers that you get that just want to pick at you, abuse his authority, run his mouth all the time. He talked real fast, had glasses. He looked like a cold nerd. That's probably why he loved the job, because now he probably been picked on all his life. Now he can turn around and be the bully. So man, I hated him, man. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. The whole time I stayed on Powhatan, I probably got like 9 charges. And the 9 charges I got came between him and this property officer, which was pure garbage as well. Pure garbage, man. But anyway, so nobody on the compound liked him. You know, he talked real fast, like he was on cocaine or something. Oh, what you say? What you say? Huh? Yeah, all right. I lock you up. I lock you up. You know, that was his whole attitude about anything. Give you a charge for anything he found. He gave me a charge one time because he shook my cell down. I had some salt and pepper in there from the kitchen, little salt and pepper packs. The man gave me a charge for contraband for that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how petty he was. But anyway, my cellie ain't like him neither. So my cellie used to say every morning when they come around for the bar window check, he used to be like, yeah, y'all, get up, everybody get up, come on, get up out cell. Come on, way. That's how he talk. That's how he is. His whole attitude. You know, plenty of people wanted to crush him, man. But you know, he really won't worth it, because you know you're gonna pay a hell of a price for it. But man, he used to be begging to get smacked. So I used to pray for I see the day somebody, you know, tow him up, man. But the dude ended up getting at him one time. I believe we jumped across the table on him at a charge. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't get him like he wanted to get him. But man, you would think that would shake him up. Now he came back still running his mouth even more, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't do but take a street charge out on you and get you some more time. But yeah, he was a piece of trash, man. So my cellie said, he said the next time that he say something to me, he said, man, I'm gonna cuss him out. He said, but I pray he be working in the morning that I get out, man. Because when he come around here for that bond window check in the morning that I get out, he said, man, I'm gonna let him have it. I'm gonna cuss him out like I don't know what, man. I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah. So I thought he was snatching at first. I said, he ain't gonna really do it. Shoot. It came time for us the morning that he's supposed to be leaving. Man, they come around for that bond window check. So he just laid up on his bed. He on the top bunk. He laid up there reading the book. So the people come. They coming down the line. They said, get up, man. Come up the stairs. Come up on the stairs. So I get up. I walk out. He don't move. He don't move at all. So I'm like, okay. So boom. He waiting and waiting. So the CO said, hey, man, come on out your cell, man. Bond window check. He said, I ain't moving. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, look, this ain't no time to be playing. Come on, how about to say? He's like, I ain't moving. I told you I ain't moving. You ain't heard me? So they called Lieutenant down there. Morton, he come in. He said, hey, get up out that cell, man. Get up out that bunk, man. He said, man, I ain't going nowhere, man. He said, oh, you going somewhere? Yeah, you going to jail. That's where you going this morning. You going to jail. You want to play with me? So he pulled his little handcuffs out, right? And dude sat up on the bed, jumped down on the floor. He bag up. Now, that's another thing on Powhatan, too. Might be the only camp I was on. They do this the old school stuff. They did it in the wall, and they did it at Powhatan. They wear them nightsticks. They got the nightstick with their uniform, that long wooden billy club. No other compound I've been on had it besides the wall and Powhatan. Yeah, they wear the nightsticks with their uniform. So he pulled his little nightstick out. Tell me, so what? What you gonna do? They got 40 officers out there, right? So the white dude get in, right? He looking at him. He's like, I ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing either, but I ain't going to jail. Oh, he said, oh, you going to jail. He said, I ain't going to jail. He said, well, you want to bet? You want to bet? Hey, y'all, come on. So he get his little mob up and everything. So he said, nah, yeah, I want to bet. I ain't going to jail because I go home this morning. Yeah, that's where I go. He said, well, you ain't going home this morning? He said, man, you can't stop me from going home. That's court order. My time up. I'm waiting on y'all to come get me right now, pack me up, process me out. He said, oh yeah? He said, what's your name? What's your name? So he get on the radio, call, check his name. So he find out the boy leaving that morning, so it ain't nothing you can do to him. He told him, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Come on up out the cell. You going to jail and wait down there till you leave. Yeah, that's what you gonna do. You going to jail and wait down there and right in that jail till you leave. He said, man, okay, whatever. He said, but I tell you what, if you put your hands on me, I don't live nowhere but right there in the street. He said, I guarantee you, me and my brother will be waiting for you out there in the parking lot. Waiting for you right out there in the parking lot when you get off. So he told me, oh, you threatening me? Oh yeah, you ain't going home then. That's a charge right there. He said, I don't care what kind of charge it is. Can't be nothing but a state charge. You can't take no street charge out on me. Yeah, he said, and even if you do, I got to go to court, get processed, get found guilty. I'm going home today. Put your hands on me. I be in that parking lot. Man, that dude was scared to death. He tried to play it out. You ain't gonna do nothing to me. You ain't coming in no parking lot. Yeah, we be waiting for you out there. He was scared. You can see it in his face. Cause now he know he dealing with somebody getting ready to hit them streets. He ain't want no parts of that. Cause I'm telling you, that white boy was serious. He won't play it. He said, yeah, you try me if you want to. So they took him on up out there, man. And he ended up leaving that morning, man. So I had to get another cell partner. I ain't know who it was going to be, but I knew they won't come in there with no foolishness because this camp was already starting to be off the chain. I could see how it's moving and everything. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got into my own routine, man. I just started working out. I had a couple of homies on there, man. Then they brought my little homeboy up there, Skinny, man. Little Skinny, man. Salute Skinny, man. And I had met Skinny on Nottaway. He was my little homie. You know what I'm saying? I met Skinny because I was getting to beat up his brother on the basketball court. Mo was the talker. Skinny was the calm man. But, you know, he came over there, man. I was already cool with him, but I ain't know Mo was his brother, so Mo was running his mouth out there. Mo was getting ready to get that business. And even though he was a homeboy, I was getting ready to give him that business because he was just talking too vicious. And then Skinny told me it was his brother. I gave him a pass. I let it pass. We all ended up being all right, but me and Skinny was real cool. So when Skinny came on there, I ended up getting Skinny to move in the cell with me. So Skinny was my cellie. So I'm cool now with the cellie because it's somebody that I know I can coexist with, I can get along with, man. And yeah, me and him was cellies, man, for a minute, man, and that was my dude, man. I had a little crew of dudes that was from the city, man, the little younger dudes that was up there, man, that I messed with. Skinny, Big D, you know, Sean, we had a little crew, and, you know, I tried to get them into working out, man, tried to teach a couple of them some, you know, something about boxing or whatnot like that. We played cards or whatever, and you know, that's how I got into my groove on Powhatan. But, man, since I've been out, man, Skinny had got out way before me. Since I've been out, Skinny had found out I was out, man. He called me, he talked to me, man. We was chopping it up. Everything was good, man. I was telling him I was definitely trying to see him. He was out there in Alexandria. And I talked to him, man, a couple of weeks in a row, man. You know, a couple of times as he back and forth to work or whatnot. He was out there doing construction with his brother Mo. And then I just lost contact with him, man. Kept calling the number, we get no number back. So I just let it be. Say, you know, I guess he got busy. When he get back, you know, free, he'll get in touch with me. And man, recently somebody told me, man, that man, Skinny passed away, man. And Skinny was younger than me, man. He was a youngin'. And say, man, yeah, he say he OD'd, man. He got out here, man, got to mess with them drugs, man, and he messed around and OD'd, man. So, you know, that don't hurt my heart, man. It hurt my heart, man, because he was a good dude, man. He was a good dude. And that's why I be trying to tell these stories, man, so these young people out here understand. It's not just prison, man. You know, it's outside world, too. It starts out here, man. You got to be cautious of what you're doing, man, because your life is priceless, man. And you throw your life away, man, for a couple of minutes of gratification, man. It's just not worth it. And, you know, a lot of dudes, they go into prison even without habits, and they get into prison and they pick up these habits because they so bored. They ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? They you know, they drain. You know, they facing doom and gloom every day, so they look for escape and they start doing drugs, man. And that's just a bad habit to pick up. And I think that's what happened to Skinny, man. He started doing it while he was in prison. And by the time he got out, man, he had a full-blown habit, and it took his life, man, which is a sad situation, man. But while we was on there, though, man, we just was moving and grooving, man, just working out, playing basketball, man. You know, I was playing basketball a lot during this time, which was controversy in itself, too. Dudes was getting to fighting on the court all the time. All the time, dudes get to rumbling on the court because everybody think they Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to be Scottie Pippen or Steve Kerr. Everybody want to be Michael Jordan. So A lot of fights broke out on the basketball court. Like I say, man, in the nighttime and in the daytime in there, that's when, especially at nighttime, but it goes down in the daytime too. But in the nighttime up there, man, that's when all the rumbling and everything go on, man. Dudes run up in dudes' cell on commissary day. You old dudes, man, dudes take your commissary. They coming with it. They ain't playing with it. They be waiting for you to walk in the building with your bags. Dudes be waiting. Dudes that was weak, when they try to go upstairs with their bag, man, dudes go right behind them, cut their bag open with a razor blade, let all this stuff fall on the floor, man, start taking it, and dudes act like they bucking and they pull that Bethlehem out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you had to be able to fend for yourself when you was on Powhatan, because one thing for certain, it wasn't no help coming. And whatever help came on Powhatan, it came too late. You understand me? And like I say, the captain, Johnson, he ran the institution. He knew what was going on and everything. But he was he was also the type of dude that ran the institution he won't go on for no snitching. He ain't like snitches. He told you straight up. So all them dudes that was in there getting pressed, you know what I'm saying, for either their sex or getting pressed for their money or whatever, and they try to check in or they try to write. If Captain was on Johnson was on shift, he'd tell him go on back up in there. You ain't checking in today. I ain't doing no paperwork on you. Get your scared tail on back up in there. You should have thought about that before you got locked up. That's how he was current. You know what I'm saying? So them dudes was scared and terrified. They felt like they had no win. And then if dudes try to write them and tell something, or man, or such doing this, such, man, Captain Johnson to bring the note in the block and stand out in the middle of the pod and say, look, I got one snitching. He said, he tell me who the store box man is. He tell me I got one snitching. You know, and man, them dudes was in the world of trouble up on that joint. I'm telling you, if you couldn't fend for yourself on there, you was in the world of trouble, because he ain't had no cut card. And to my understanding, he got that job because he used to work back in M Building. M Building is a notorious jail of Mecklenburg. Notorious jail. That's one of the most famous jails in the Virginia penal system, that M Building. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're on Mecklenburg, something, it's M Building. Because they was known to house dudes back there for decades, years, and it's crazy back there. You ain't got nothing coming back there. You in dead man's land. You understand me? Only time you might see them people when they come back there, bring them 3 trays, and that's it. Asking for stuff, trying to get, you ain't get nothing. So you on your own back there. So you ain't want to get stuck in M Building. But M Building had been, like I say, the prison was so old that they actually had the outside cage where they take you outside to go to wreck at. They had a lot of pigeons back there, so they used to defecate all over the place. And to my understanding, that stuff is poisonous when you intake and inhale that stuff for long periods of time. So a lot of officers that ended up working back there in M Building had got sick. They had got this disease called a breathing disease, a lung disease called histosplasmosis or something like that. And a lot of them put lawsuits against the state for, catching that disease. And the state compensated a lot of them and settled out of court. I understood that he was back there. He was just a regular officer. And he had a mean lawsuit because he caught it and he sued him. And he took some type of deal whereas he would be promoted because he had already been there for decades. And he would be promoted to a captain if he dropped the lawsuit. This is what I heard. Whether it's true or not, that's how he got promoted. And they say once he had been working back there for so long, over a decade, and all the sergeants and lieutenants and stuff that used to carry him, he went straight over top of their head and became their boss, and he dragged them, man. I mean, they were scared of him more so than they was of the inmate, because he can get you fired, he can get you put on the street without pay, and that's how he carried it, and I respected him for that part of the way he carried his job. Because he was the only one, if he was on shift, if it was him on shift, they had another captain, which was a white dude. He won't hit on nothing. But when he was on shift and an officer was trying to lock you up, or an officer that said something slick to you and you done stood your ground because you knew you was right, and you go to him, and because you got to go through him, if he the watch commander, he the one going to call when you get locked up. And now he'll bring you right in there with the officer and say, what happened? And he'll let you tell your part, and the officer tell his part. And if he felt like you was right or he was carrying you, he'll say, man, go on back to your block. Go on. And man, they hated him for that. But they couldn't do nothing about it because he was the big man. He was the power man. You know what I'm saying? So I respected him a whole lot for that. I respected him for the fact that he didn't, tolerate that snitching. He was gonna let it be known. He was gonna put you out there. So that cut down on the snitching on there while I was on there and while he was on there. Because if he knew you was snitching, he was gonna tell it. If he told it, dudes was coming to see. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I give him a lot of credit for that. But overall though, man, he thought he was a pimp. He thought he was the man. He had got so many sexual harassment charges, but they couldn't find him because he had some type of deal in play. But I remember being on there one time, man. They said the kitchen lady came running down the hall, screaming and hollering, talking about, he touching me. She ended up getting a lawsuit on, saying he was back there fraternizing with her, touching all on her and stuff, and she ain't like it. And she ran up out there. They said she got paid off a lawsuit, an undetermined amount of money. They paid her to sell out of court. But all he got was a slap on the wrist. They sent him over to receiving for 6 months. And 6 months later, he was right back over there in his own post and walking through I'm back. Head cocked to this, I'm back. Yeah, y'all better get it in order because I'm back. Yeah, the boss is back. And man, like I told you, he was a funny dude. He was a character within himself, man. But like I say, as far as the institution goes, man, like I say, you had some crazy dudes on this institution, man. Some dudes that I'm probably going to do some stories about down the line. Like I told you, you had suicide. Man, you had one of these dudes on here, man. It turned out to be one of my best friends, man. He was an older dude, man, been locked up a long time, man. At this time, I think he had already been locked up 30-something years when I meet him. His name was Tuck, man. They called him Tuck, man. Shout out Calvin Tucker. And they used to say, Calvin Tucker, a bad mother, watch your mouth. Yeah, he was a mean old cuss, man. Little short, balled up face, man. Bald head, man. All these bumps all on the craters and stuff. But he looked just so mean. Big old belly, but he was thick all up top. And they say, man, when he first came in the penitentiary, man, he was a monster, real strong, tear you up on that football field. But inside these walls, man, let me tell you something. I don't care who you is. You mess with Calvin Tucker, you better be ready to die, man, because Tuck was crazy as all get out. And he done got so settled now into his bit that he ain't even really worried about getting out. And I'm telling you, and I know this for a fact because he had already been locked up so long. He worked in they had the tag shop on Powhatan. Everybody who got a license plate on their car in Virginia, it came out of Powhatan prison. They make the license plates for Virginia in Powhatan prison. For slave wages, they make them license plates. But in the penitentiary, they making more money than the average person because it's an enterprise job. Some of them dudes working there, man, overtime and everything, man. They go to work at 6 in the morning. You might not see them till like 7 or 8 at night. You know what I'm saying? Every day. So they was bringing home, some of them dudes bringing home like $100, $200 something a month. You know what I'm saying? Which is great money in the penitentiary, best job you gonna get. But you working for it and you really putting in that work. But Tuck had worked over there for a long time. And I remember one time, man, that they came to get him for parole, to take him up for a parole hearing. And Tuck, man, I'm telling you, he's a mean one, boy. He just mean. And Tuck said he ain't want to go. They told me he had to go over there. Tuck go all the way over there, get over there for the parole hearing and cuss the people out. Man, don't y'all never call me over here taking me away from my job, making me lose money for this MF parole. Y'all ain't gonna give it to me. Don't call me over here no more. Let me up out of here. And rolled up out of it. That was his parole hearing. You know what I'm saying? So you tell me that ain't crazy. That's Tuck. That's how he act. He had a single cell because on Powhatan, they had the bottom tier, the second tier, and the third tier. When they got to the second tier, the end cells, the last 5 cells on the second tier was delegated to single cells. All the other cells was doubled up. Then on the third tier alone, all the cells was single cell. So dudes would be trying to get them single cells. They at first had it because of the dudes that work in these wood shops and stuff like that. But then it wasn't enough for them because you got them in other blocks too. The dudes might work over there. So those cells was, you had to get in line to get it. It went by seniority, how long you been on the block, how long you been on the list, you know what I'm saying, had you had any charges, it's X amount of time. So everybody was vying for them cells and trying to get them single cells. But mostly everybody that was up there that had them single cells was people who had them, who had been there for a long time and they had been on the list and they ended up getting them cells. So Tuck got one of them cells, and man, he used to have his cell so clean because he was still stuck in prison mode. He get his floor waxed. He take his shoes off when he walk in there. When you come to his cell to talk to him, you can't step in his cell. You step up in his cell. Hey, get up out here. Put your feet on my floor. You know, that's type, that he just was crazy. Man, this man was so crazy, but the police knew he was crazy and they were scared of him. They knew. He had different rules than most people on there because he had been there so long and they know about him and they know what's going on with him. In the summertime, I told y'all it'd be so hot up in there. So hot, man. I'm telling you, like you want to peel your skin off. Man, Calvin Tucker, man, would come out there in the summertime and walk up out of his cell on that second floor all the way down to T. He slept all the way, like the third or fourth cell from the end. He would walk all the way down to the front end where they had the shower at, with nothing but a towel across his shoulder and a bar of soap. Yeah, buck naked. Buck naked. It might be a woman down there, anything. The new ones would go say, hey, this man, and try to give him a charge. You get over there, they say, who is he? Watch Commander Calvin. Oh man, that's Calvin, leave him alone. He that's what he do. He walks to the shower naked, take a shower, walk back naked. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He didn't care. They told me he had been doing it for years. I remember I first seen it. I said, what in the world? Tuck goes to that shower buck naked and come on back. Then you don't want to go to the cell, because if you go to the cell before you knock or anything like that or walk past there, don't even look. Tuck might be sitting up there on the bed, buck naked, watching TV. Buck naked, man. I mean, you know, these characters in prison, man. But like I say, he was a mean dude. The only thing he really cared about was, you know, like I say, respect, and you ain't gonna play with him. And he had this real connection, man, with these freak books, man. What we call in prison freak books is pornographic magazines. It was hard to get in there. Sometimes, one time they was letting them get them, but then you get the ones that get real hardcore. It's just like actual porno movies on pages, and police would sneak them in for money or whatever. You really weren't supposed to have. But Tuck had a rack of them, and he used to actually loan them out. He would rent them out. Somebody could come get the book for about, you know, an hour or something, and you had to pay Tuck $5, $10 or whatever. So he would keep a list of who got his books or whatever, because he had books going out here and there and everywhere. Man, let me tell you something. They came around there, this before I got there, but I heard about it. It's legendary up in there. But they had came around there one time doing the shakedown and going through random cells, and they had some new officers, and Tuck was at work in that tag shop, and they went in Tuck's cell and they took them books. Shh. Tuck came back from work and went in that cell and found out his books was gone and people had been in the cell. First thing he did, he thought somebody in the block might have did it. So he comes out in the block raising Cain. Anybody been in my cell? If I find out who you is, I promise you, you won't look like the bride of Frankenstein when I finish with you. I'm gonna kill you. And everybody ran. He's snapping, right? So people tell him that people went in the cell. I mean, the police went in your cell, they took your cell, and police ain't going to my cell, take nothing out my cell. They know. Man, the people took something out your cell. Man, they said, Tuck, man, get that Bethlehem and ask to see the major. And they say Tuck goes over there to see the major, you know, because I told y'all the major run most institutions. You know what I'm saying? He calls the shots. So they said Tuck got that Bethlehem, went over there to see the major, asking him about his books. The major and them know about him and everything. He told him it was some new officers. If they took him, he'll see if he can get him back. If he can't get him back, then I can't get him back. But you know you don't supposed to have him. Man, they said Tuck snapped in there. What you mean I don't supposed to have him? You know I've been at him. I've been here for years, decades. Yeah. And Tuck, he said, hey, Calvin, you better calm down. Man, they said Tuck pulled that Bethlehem out and stabbed that joint in the desk right in front of the major. Boom! And said, if you don't get these books back, I'll kill you up in here.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure delicious.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.